Frank Proctor of the Way of the Gun is going to show us some advantages of the 50-yard zero and a simple and effective method of getting a 50-yard zero at 10 yards.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Frank Proctor with Way of the Gun Performance Shooting, back out the range today. Today what we're going to talk about is getting a 50-yard zero at 10 yards. First of all, now that I've blown your mind, let's talk about the advantages of a 50-yard zero for the carbine. I wanted a zero that would allow me to point and shoot, not have to think about holding over or under or any of that business. So I started playing around with some ballistic software, and there's a lot of it out there now that's accurate. At the time I was using Horse A-Track. But plugging around with this ballistic software, I was like, what distance can I zero this rifle at that will let me hit all the targets I need to shoot? 6 to 12 inch targets without changing point of aim, okay, without holding off into space. Turns out 200 yards is it. Also 50 yards, okay? Problems with trying to zero rifles at 200 yards without a magnified optic. Even with a magnified optic, you gotta hold the gun still enough, all right, stable enough to get an accurate group. You gotta be able to see well enough with your optics or a spotting scope or what have you in order to see where the impact is to adjust. So I started fixing some of that. Now, I'll say this, with magnified optics, 1 to 4, 1 to 6 or something like that, you can very effectively get a 50-yard zero shot at 50 yards. Like I say, that comes back in trajectory-wise right about 200 as well. The worst you're off, between the muzzle and 200, about 1.5 inches high at 150 yards. That ain't a bad deal. All right, for tactical shooters or competitive shooters, that's gonna let you win by putting dots on targets. Going out a little bit further, at 300, we're about 6.5 inches low. That lets us on a 12-inch target kind of hold in the top part of it, still keep contact with sight and target, and win. Moving on, so now we've started taking this to red dot sights. Now with a red dot sight, it's very hard to see well enough, to see small enough, to aim small enough at 50 yards in order to get a zero. So I started doing this at 25 yards. And on the Army side of the house, a lot of our zero ranges are 25 yards, 25 meters. Same thing, close. So I started figuring out same thing with some ballistic software. I said, hey, well, if I had a 50-yard zero, where would the bullet be at 25 meters? For most of our optics, that was about 1.25 inches below point of aim. So take this on out to, or fast forward a little bit. Now I'm shooting iron sights a good bit. Well, at 25 meters, the front sight post is completely covering up the 1-inch pasty, and that's what I used to use for a target. 1-inch square pasty, if I'd hold the top left corner, that'd be my point of aim, and I'd adjust to where the point of impact was 1.25 inches below that point of aim. Real easy to see on a 1-inch pasty. Iron sights cover that up at 25. So same thing, back to some ballistic software. Where would the bullet be at 10 yards if I had a 50-yard zero on the gun? With this EOTech, all right, and conveniently enough, you can use the lines on your fingers. A guy named Todd Hodnett that was fortunate enough to train with showed me this. They're about 1 inch. I measured mine, this finger is exactly 1 inch. So from the center of the bore to the center of the sight is about 2.5 inches. Okay, so we plugged that into some ballistic software, tell the stuff how fast the bullet's going, the BC, etc. And tell the ballistic software will tell us that if we had a 50-yard zero on the rifle, that bullet, if point of aim is here, we'll have a target out set up like this. If your point of aim is here, if you adjust to where your point of impact is 1.9 inches below your point of aim, you'll be able to effectively get a 50-yard zero shot at 10 yards. Now, beautiful thing about shooting it at 10 yards, you can get stable enough off the magazine in the prone position without having to haul sandbags up. You can also, if you use a white background target, you can see where the bullets hit. And without walking back and forth, you can save some time. See where that bullet hits, make an adjustment. I usually shoot about 2 rounds. If I can get 2 rounds touching, I'm golden. I don't need to shoot that third. We'll adjust to where we end up with point of aim and point of impact. Roll that thing in there, and it's a absolute poop in, poop out technique. You got to have nice solid point of aim and a nice solid grip. We need 3 rounds touching at this distance, and it's very easy to do at 10 yards, like I said, because we can get so much stability just off the prone. Another tip I'd say, on your dot, dial the intensity down to where it's not super bright and growing, to where you got a really big point of aim. Nice, small, defined point of aim should let you shoot a little bit smaller. So there's the advantage that I think of a 50-yard zero, and here's a way to get it at 10 yards. Everybody's got 10 yards to shoot. Go try it out for yourself, see what you think. We'll test it out later. That's all I got for now. We'll see you next time. Y'all take it easy.
Trigger Time TV is brought to you by Crossbreed Holsters, Keltec, Troy Industries, Troy Defense, Talon Ordnance, Eagle Shield, Nemo Arms, Fax and Firearms, Copus Mobile, Black Forge Weapons, Battle Rifle Company, Vertex, Wiley X, Dark Angel, and Meredith Rifles.
I'd like to dedicate this show to my good buddy John Godwin. He's like a brother from another mother. Known him for a long time. He's been there for me in my ups and downs. I appreciate you and love you, brother.
Closed caption provided by Wiley X.